Cristiano Ronaldo's own teammate just told the world that the greatest footballer Portugal has ever produced is no different from anyone else in that squad. And Ronaldo, by all accounts, didn't take it lightly. So some people are calling João Neves disrespectful, others are calling him brave. And we're going to go through exactly what happened, what was said, and why the internet completely lost its mind over it. João Neves enraged thousands of Cristiano Ronaldo fans with his comments after Portugal's opening match of the 2026 World Cup against DR Congo. And it all happened fast. One post-match interview, one reporter's question, 4 sentences, and then the whole football world caught fire. Portugal midfielder João Neves sparked major controversy following their disappointing 1-1 draw against DR Congo in their 2026 World Cup opener. The 21-year-old PSG star, who scored Portugal's opening goal of the tournament, was asked about Ronaldo's influence during his post-match interview, and here's what he said, word for word. "We know what Cristiano has done for us, for our national team, and for the world of football. But at this moment, he and we know that he is no different. He is just another player here to help. He is no different from the others. He is here to contribute, just like all of us." He added, "He played very well. I think the whole team played an excellent game. That was it." That's the thing that brought thousands of people to the gates. Neves' comment triggered an immediate and intense backlash from Ronaldo fans on social media. The phrase "he is not different" or "just another player" was widely interpreted as diminishing Ronaldo's legendary status. For a section of Ronaldo's fan base, this wasn't a matter of interpretation, it was a declaration. A 21-year-old kid who had never won a Ballon d'Or, never lifted a Champions League trophy, never carried a nation on his back for 2 decades, had just looked down the barrel of a camera and told the world that Cristiano Ronaldo is just like everybody else. That hit differently. The 21-year-old's next Instagram post sparked an avalanche of Ronaldo fans pointing out that Neves is a nobody playing in a team with a demigod. Controversy following their disappointing 1-1 draw against DR Congo in their 2026 World Cup opener. The 21-year-old PSG star, who scored Portugal's opening goal of the tournament, was asked about Ronaldo's influence during his post-match interview. And here's what he said, word for word. "We know what Cristiano has done for us, for our national team, and for the world of football. But at this moment, we know that he is no different. He is just another player here to help. He is no different from the others. He is here to contribute, just like all of us," he added. "He played very well. I think the whole team played an excellent game. That was it. That's the thing that brought thousands of people to the gates." Neves' comment triggered an immediate and intense backlash from Ronaldo fans. On social media, the phrase "no é diferente," meaning he is not different or just another player, was widely interpreted as diminishing Ronaldo's legendary status. For a section of Ronaldo's fan base, this wasn't a matter of interpretation. It was a declaration. A 21-year-old kid who had never won a Ballon d'Or, never lifted a Champions League trophy, never carried a nation on his back for 2 decades, had just looked down the barrel of a camera and told the world that Cristiano Ronaldo is just like everybody else that hit differently. The 21-year-old's next Instagram post sparked an avalanche of Ronaldo fans pointing out that Neves is a nobody playing in a team with a demigod in between gifs of Ronaldo pointing at himself. The comments section turned into a war. Zone fans weren't just angry, they were self-righteously furious. One Instagram user named Adam Senpai wrote something that went semi-viral on its own. "Let me be clear, your comments about Cristiano Ronaldo were disrespectful and unprofessional." They added, "You don't have to like him, but you will respect him. This is the same man who has 5 Ballon d'Ors, 5 Champions Leagues, and is the all-time top scorer in football history. He's the reason millions of kids picked up a football, including players from your generation. You're a young player with talent, but talent without respect means nothing. Legends built this game for you. Act like it." And that was just one comment. Thousands more followed in the same spirit. A second commenter wrote, "Why are you talking about Ronaldo like this? You should respect the history you have with him," while a third said, "Show some respect for Cristiano Ronaldo. He is your captain, your leader, and the man who carried Portugal onto the world stage. Without him, a lot of what Portugal achieved would never have happened. Yet, every time Portugal loses, you point fingers at Ronaldo, as if he's the only one on the pitch. That's disgraceful. On Twitter, it was no different. One user wrote, Cristiano Ronaldo didn't carry this country on. His head for 20 years for a player like João Neves, a 21-year-old, to say the greatest player your country will ever see is just like everyone in the squad. Another said flatly, that statement from João Neves is the most disrespectful thing I've seen this week. Thousands of angry CR7 fans left angry messages on Neves' Instagram account, while some even hounded his girlfriend. And just like that, a post-match interview that lasted less than a minute had turned into a full-blown international incident. The question everyone was asking, what on earth made Neves say this in the first place? And more importantly, what was Ronaldo thinking when he heard it, too? Understand why Neves' words landed the way they did. You have to go back to what actually happened on that pitch in Houston, because this didn't come out of nowhere. There was a context, a specific, embarrassing, deeply uncomfortable context, and that context is what made the quote so loaded after a picture-perfect beginning. Portugal were rendered mostly ineffective for the final 80 minutes against DR Congo and came away with only a 1-1 draw in a match in which they were heavily favored. It was the fourth time in 5 World Cups that Portugal failed to win their first match, and it was another referendum on the enigma that is Cristiano Ronaldo. At this level in 2026, Portugal were considered one of the favorites to win the 2026 World Cup and were easily expected to beat DR Congo at Houston Stadium in Houston, Texas. Roberto Martinez's side looked like they would triumph with ease when Neves gave them the lead after just 6 minutes. However, they were unable to make their dominance count, and Yoani Wissa leveled proceedings just before halftime. Neither side could find a winner in the second half, and the two sides were forced to share the spoils. Now, the scoreline alone was an upset, but it's what happened around Ronaldo that turned it into something darker. Ronaldo started the game but failed to make the desired impact, missing 2 big chances as his goalless run in major tournaments was extended to 10 games. 10 consecutive major tournament games without a goal. A man who once made scoring look as natural as breathing, standing in front of goal at the biggest tournament on earth and coming up empty again. He was on the fringes of the action for 99% of the game and squandered Portugal's 2 best chances, even 2 of Ronaldo's 3. Shot attempts were indicative of a larger problem. He couldn't find any physical advantages against the Congolese defenders, which meant he had to drift wide of the goal to find space. Even when Francisco Conceição made dangerous runs to the sideline and created chances for Ronaldo, the shots started and stayed wide. The stats painted a bleak picture. More often than not, Ronaldo appeared to just be taking up space of the Portugal starting leg end. Only Bernardo Silva touched the ball on fewer occasions. Silva took 26 touches to Ronaldo's 29. Silva was also substituted at halftime. Ronaldo played the full 90, so the man taking up a forward position, commanding the team's attacking shape, absorbing their service. He finished with fewer touches than the player who left the field at halftime, and the manager kept him on. After Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe, and Erling Haaland all scored in their opening matches, the 41-year-old Ronaldo couldn't find the net in Portugal's 1-1 draw, with players like Vinicius Junior, Christian Pulisic, Victor Gyökeres, and Harry Kane also all scoring early in this year's World Cup. Ronaldo being held scoreless stood out even more. Even the opposition spoke plainly about it. Congo midfielder Nigalayo Mukau, who is 20 years younger than Ronaldo, said, "We know that Ronaldo isn't the same as before, so we know that he runs less efforts. It was up to our defense to stop him, and they did a great job." Ronaldo, 41, captained Portugal to a 1-1 draw with DR Congo in their Group K opener at the World Cup, and his individual performance was widely ridiculed. The most capped player in international men's football has nothing to prove at. His 6th World Cup in 21 years, but analysts noted that his diminished mobility and Portugal's over-reliance on his influence do not make for productive bedfellows. This was the context in which Neves stepped up to a microphone and said what he said. A squad full of world-class players, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Pedro Neto Vitinha, had just watched their 41-year-old captain miss 2 big chances and take 29 touches in 90 minutes. And then a reporter asked the man of the match how he felt about Ronaldo's role in the team. The answer Neves gave made the internet melt. But was it actually the most outrageous thing in the story? Because what happened next? What was said by the people around Ronaldo, by the manager, and by Ronaldo himself is where this thing gets genuinely interesting. It didn't stay with Neves for long. The fire spread, and it spread fast to his teammates, to his girlfriend, to his coach, and eventually inescapably to Ronaldo. A massive social media storm hit the Portugal national team camp at the FIFA World Cup 2026. Midfielder João Neves and his girlfriend, actress Madalena Aragão, became the targets of severe online harassment from angry Cristiano Ronaldo fans. The trolling began immediately after Portugal's opening match against DR Congo, which ended in a 1-1 draw. Despite Neves scoring Portugal's only goal of the game, a post-match interview about his legendary teammate triggered thousands of football fans to flood their Instagram comment sections with hateful messages. Madalena eventually disabled comments on her latest Instagram post to avoid vomiting. Emojis and messages insisting Ronaldo is the king of football and must be fully respected. A woman who had nothing to do with football, nothing to do with this match, nothing to do with any of it, dragged into a mob because of her boyfriend's post-match press conference. Neves, for his part, didn't stay quiet about it. He reportedly said, "They attacked my girlfriend. She told me about it. She's not worried because she knows these things happen. People hate the truth. What they're doing is what ignorant people do. People hate the truth." That phrase alone added fuel. And it told you exactly where Neves stood. He wasn't backing down. He wasn't issuing an apology. He was doubling down. And that shifted the tone of the whole conversation. Meanwhile, the Portugal camp was being torn apart from the outside. On social media, several Portuguese players were subjected to serious abuse, with fans demanding respect for Ronaldo. Key members of the squad, including Bruno Fernandes, Neves, Vitinha, and Pedro Neto, were accused of disrespecting the Al Nassr striker and harboring jealousy towards him. While Neves' social media accounts were filled with criticisms, Bruno Fernandes praised his midfield partner, reacting with a red heart emoji to his World Cup photo. Even Neves' PSG teammate Achraf Hakimi also commented on the post with the sparkles emoji. Fans also slammed Bruno for not being able to assist Ronaldo for a goal. No one was safe. Support Neves, you're against Ronaldo. Post a heart emoji. You're against Ronaldo? And what was being reported behind the scenes was even more alarming than the social media noise. According to Spanish newspaper Marca, a supposed boycott of the record-breaking forward had also begun to be discussed. The word boycott was out there. Players allegedly not feeding Ronaldo on purpose. Whether it was true or not, the fact that it was being written about by credible outlets quoting people inside Portuguese football told you how far the temperature had risen inside the camp. This shows the risk of the civil war we could have inside the national team, said Vitor Pinto, deputy editor of Portuguese publication Record, in an interview with Marca. There's a reaction to any criticism directed at Cristiano Ronaldo. And that is where much of the polarization comes from. Civil war in the Portugal camp. At a World Cup, over 4 sentences from a 21-year-old midfielder. Manager Roberto Martinez faced the delicate task of managing squad harmony, balancing the transition to a new generation, while still relying on Ronaldo's experience and leadership. The incident highlighted the tension between honoring Ronaldo's legacy and building for the future. 2 quintillion, 26 quadrillion, 61 trillion, 911 billion, 564 million, 453,014. This was no longer just an online argument. This had entered the dressing room, and someone had to say something. When a storm gets big enough, eventually the people in authority have to respond. And in this case, it was Roberto Martinez who stepped up first, walking a tightrope between defending his captain and defending his squad. In response to a reporter's question about Neves' remarks, Martinez commented, "I think that statement can be easily misunderstood. Cristiano Ronaldo's status in this team cannot be diminished. We are talking about one of the greatest footballers in history. He has achieved everything. He has scored more goals for Portugal than any other player, broken countless records, and continues to fight for this country." But then he pivoted, and this pivot was important. Martinez continued, "When people hear comments like these, it might lead them to question the player's mindset, his understanding of the locker room atmosphere, and even his values. However, I also understand what João was trying to say. I don't believe he intended any insult. What he was trying to express is that Portugal's goal is bigger than any individual 2026. Read that again? The coach of Portugal just told you that Neves' comments might make people question his values, and then in the very next breath, said he doesn't think Neves meant any insult. That's a manager threading a needle. He was protecting Ronaldo's ego while simultaneously excusing Neves, pleasing everyone and no one at the same time. The remarks had already sparked widespread anger among Ronaldo's fans, who demanded respect for the Portuguese captain. The criticism extended beyond Neves to several national team players, with supporters arguing that some teammates do not provide Ronaldo with sufficient support on the field, whether through weak passing or failing to utilize him effectively. 2026. Now, Ronaldo. Because this whole thing, the online firestorm, the dressing room tension, the coach's diplomatic tightrope act, it all existed in the shadow of one question. What does Ronaldo actually think about what Neves said? Cristiano Ronaldo has scored 143 goals and registered 42 assists in 226 games for Portugal, and he's their top scorer. He also played a key role in their UEFA Euro triumph in 2016 and their 2025 Nations League win. This is a man who has carried Portugal on his back for 2 decades, who turned up for qualifiers when the squad was average, who dragged them over the line at Euro 2016 off the bench with a broken knee, who has 143 goals in a Portugal shirt, more than any human being who has ever played for that country, and now his own teammate, a 21-year-old who hadn't even been born when Ronaldo made his international debut, had just called him ordinary. The silence from Ronaldo's camp was deafening at first. No statement, no Instagram post, no reaction visible to the outside world. And that silence in its own way spoke volumes, because Ronaldo doesn't do quiet. His entire career has been a statement. Every goal, every celebration, every interview a declaration of his own greatness. For him to say nothing was either discipline or fury, maybe both. But when he did speak, and he did what he said about João Neves, told you everything you needed to know about where his head was at. Portugal's manager, Roberto Martinez, had already defended his decision to keep Ronaldo on the pitch during the draw with DR Congo. He revealed that the former Real Madrid forward is their top scorer, and it wasn't logical to sub him off. In a game where goals were needed, the 53-year-old said, it made no sense at all to take off Cristiano Ronaldo, who is the best goal scorer in history, off the field when we were looking for goals. That's what the manager said. But what did Ronaldo say about Neves? Here's the thing about Cristiano Ronaldo at 41 years old, playing in his 6th World Cup, being called just another player by his 21-year-old teammate on the world's biggest stage. The response you'd expect from him and the response he actually gave are 2 very different things. And that gap is what makes this story so fascinating. While some viewed Neves' comments as an attempt to emphasize team unity, many fans saw the statement very differently. For many supporters, the issue wasn't whether Ronaldo should still be treated differently on the pitch. The issue was the wording, calling Cristiano Ronaldo just another player was seen by many as disrespectful toward a football icon whose legacy goes far beyond ordinary standards. But here's the uncomfortable truth that started to creep into the conversation. The longer this story ran, João Neves, the 21-year-old PSG midfielder, who had just scored the opening goal of Portugal's World Cup campaign, the man of the match against DR Congo, he wasn't wrong. Not technically. And maybe, just maybe, Ronaldo knows that in the past, the reliance on Ronaldo had to be the case because the quality behind him was lacking. Now, he arguably has the best midfield five supporting him, and if anything, he appears to be limiting them. 33,694, 13,552,727. 2026 Ronaldo's teammates persisted at trying to find him at all costs. At times, their unselfishness to feed the number 7 looked costly. They were squandering better chances to give him the service. This Portugal team, with Neves pulling strings in midfield, Bruno Fernandes dictating tempo, Bernardo Silva creating from everywhere, is arguably the most technically gifted squad the country has ever assembled. And yet the game plan, in large part, still runs through a forward, who was on the fringes of the action for 99% of the game, and has now gone 10 consecutive major tournament games without a goal. The comments were seized upon by a section of Ronaldo's fan base, with the 21-year-old midfielder accused of sabotaging the captain. According to Marca, it was those remarks that ultimately lit the fuse for what had become an increasingly tense atmosphere inside the Portuguese squad. 2026, 59,658. But here's what Ronaldo has quietly communicated through the people closest to him and through his own conduct in training. He agrees with the principle behind what Neves said, even if the wording stung. Every person who has been inside that dressing room in recent weeks has said the same thing, that Ronaldo is the first to arrive, the last to leave, and the most committed figure in the entire squad. He's not acting like a legend who expects special treatment. He's acting like a man who knows this is his last dance, and he's going to earn his place in it. This is likely to be the final World Cup for Ronaldo, who won the Champions League 5 times with Manchester United and Real Madrid, and currently plays for Saudi club Al Nassr. And so when Ronaldo finally addressed the situation, not in an angry statement, not in a dramatic Instagram post, but in the way that he always ultimately responds, it was with silence and presence. He showed up, he trained, he prepared for the next match. Ronaldo had failed to register a shot on target in the game against DR Congo. However, he would be looking to enhance his performance in Portugal's upcoming clash with Uzbekistan. The debate divided Portuguese football supporters, with some praising Neves for promoting team unity, while others saw it as a lack of respect for Ronaldo's unparalleled contributions. 2 quintillion, 26 quadrillion, 61 trillion, 911 billion, 564 million, 453,014, and that's the real story buried underneath all the noise. This isn't about disrespect, it's about transition. It's about a national team standing at a crossroads. 1 foot in the era of the greatest player they've ever produced. 1 foot in a future that belongs to a 21-year-old who scores headers in World Cup openers and stands in front of cameras without flinching. Vitor Pinto was careful to draw a clear distinction between supporter hysteria and genuine internal dysfunction. I do not believe there was any boycott. Against Cristiano Ronaldo, let us be absolutely clear from the outset. There was no organized boycott 2026, 59,658, against Cristiano Ronaldo within the national team. The fans who flooded Neves' Instagram, they were fighting a battle that the 2 men at the center of it were not actually fighting. Neves' comments were quite plainly a defense of Ronaldo and a tribute to his attitude as the leader of a squad packed with players who haven't achieved anything in the game to match him. 809,811 to 20 million, 260,619. What Ronaldo really thinks of Neves? He thinks he's a teammate, a good one, a young one who chose his words badly in a post-match interview and accidentally handed a mob a reason to riot. But inside that dressing room, Ronaldo knows, the way all great athletes eventually know, that the team moves forward together. That the moment a squad starts worshiping one man over the mission, they lose. And Ronaldo has lived too long in football to let that happen at his last World Cup. Ronaldo did join Messi as the only players to appear in 6 World Cups. 6. No one else in the history of men's football has done that. And that distinction, that record, that extraordinary stubbornness to still be here. At 41, that is the answer to everything. That is what Ronaldo is actually saying, not with words, but with the simple, relentless act of showing up. João Neves said Ronaldo is just another player. And Ronaldo, he's been proving people wrong his entire career. References João Neves' social media hijacked, with thousands of comments after Cristiano Ronaldo claim Sport Bible 800 and 9,811 to 20,260,619, João Neves causes stir with Cristiano Ronaldo comments. After Portugal 1-1 DR Congo, give me sport, why is João Neves facing criticism? Sunday Guardian Live, 209,494. Cristiano is just another player. João Neves sparks outrage. Pulse Sports Nigeria, 2 quintillion, 26 quadrillion, 61 trillion, 911 billion, 564 million. 453,014 Portugal coach defends Ronaldo after Neves comments. Daily Beirut 2026, João Neves. Hit by online abuse after comments on Ronaldo. OneFootball 43,033,242. João Neves faces backlash over just. Another player comment, Sportsration, João Neves' girlfriend's Instagram accounts flooded with hate comments. IB Times UK 1,803,822. João Neves defends girlfriend after Cristiano Ronaldo fans target her. Sunday Guardian Live, 209,747. Portugal have a Ronaldo problem again after Congo DR draw. ESPN 49,098,603. Portugal 1-1 DR Congo. Cristiano Ronaldo struggles. Sky Sports 33,694. 13,552,727. 2026 Portugal player ratings versus DR Congo. Goal.com. Portugal 1-1 DR Congo. Cristiano Ronaldo fails to deliver. Outlook India 2026. Why Cristiano Ronaldo could spark a civil war in the dressing room. Sports Mole 2026. 59,658 fans react as video of Portugal star claiming Ronaldo is just another player goes viral. Sportskeeda Roberto Martinez on João Neves' comments about Cristiano Ronaldo. Football Talk on X, 2 quintillion, 67 quadrillion, 998 trillion, 931 billion, 322,343,786.